Right, guys, it's time for us to look stupid by predicting the second leg of the round of 16 and which teams are going to make it through to the quarterfinals. Look how they dread it. You can see it written on their faces. Dan Bardell and Hugh Woozencroft join me to make our way through these games. It's going to be pretty quick fire here, guys. First of all, it's a juicy one, and you never know. Liverpool, of course, lost at Anfield at 5-2 to Real Madrid. How do you see this one going, Hugh?
I think we know. I do think we know.
Do we not see it sort of, we've seen La Remontada. There's been some numerous comebacks, often involving Liverpool. They've done it before. They've done it against Spanish opposition previously.
The current comeback kings in the Champions League are Real Madrid, as they showed us in the first leg. And I just don't see it this time around. I don't think Liverpool are going to stop them from scoring at home. And I think, if that happens at any point in the game, it's a huge mountain for Liverpool to climb, score 4 goals away from home against a side with this much experience in the competition. I just can't see it happening.
They're not going to do it without Divock Origi. That's a simple fact, isn't it?
Do you know what? I've learned my lesson with Real Madrid now. They truly are a wonderful world-class team. And we talk about Casemiro in another video and talk about someone just being a winner. There's a whole group of them there. And the way they play down that left-hand side, Vinicius Jr. looks fantastic. Benzema, clutch. Modric still got it. Camavinga, so many different players that are just wonderful for them. I can't see it. It might even get sort of tasty and close, but that's as far as it's going.
Real Madrid will score, won't they? I think you can't see Real Madrid not scoring. And for Liverpool to win, I think they'd probably, or to go through, to progress, I think they'd have to keep a clean sheet to make it possible.
And away from home as well. Very, very difficult. So, all going for Real Madrid to make it through that one. Next up, Eintracht Frankfurt. Hostile atmosphere. Going away now to a hostile atmosphere in Napoli. They lost the first game 2-0. Napoli are a really exciting team here. I think this is going to be an easy one for us as well. I almost kind of don't want to waste time on Frankfurt, but to not have Muani for that second leg is crucial as well. I think they had one shot on target. The other shots were outside the box. Napoli peppered them in this game. And are certainly the dark horses, if not one of the easy favourites for this tournament. Surely, Hugh?
The dark horses, I think, for the Champions League this time around. And I think one of the main reasons for that is the distance that they've got in Serie A. Because that means that they really can focus in this competition, trying to do something that would be absolutely incredible for their fans this time around. And I think one of the key things for them is the quality of the forward players at the moment is just right up there. I think Osimhen, his all-round game has been fantastic. Okay, he gets the headlines for the goals that he scores as well, but just leading that line as well as anyone really in European football right now. The supporting cast behind him aren't too bad. Central midfield, centre backs. I mean, it's a weird one because I don't think we're really expecting to be saying, aside from Serie A, is one of, if not the best team in Europe right now, particularly not one of the old names of, a Juventus or a Inter Milan or AC Milan after the last season. But you have to say, on the evidence that we've seen so far, they're right up there. I can't see Frankfurt stopping them.
I think when we're doing these predictions each year, that is the thing you're wondering, like, how is there that gap? And sometimes there is. I just can't see it with this as well. I think that you've got a lot. Kvaratskhelia as well on the left-hand side. The guy's unbelievable. One of the most exciting players to watch in world football right now. And every time I'm watching his movement and their goals, you've got Lozano on the right-hand side, Osimhen with that movement, which is world-class for me. I think they go really, really far, and I think they make it through comfortably, especially at home. Dan, do you agree?
Yeah, they've got the most unique striker in world football at the moment. He's the striker that the football purists are all talking about. He's just so unique in the way he plays the game, and if he can get more goals in the Champions League, he's going to secure himself a massive move in the summer. So, you think about the team wanting to go far. From a personal level, he's going to want to prove himself, and in fairness, he's already proved himself this season, Osimhen, but he's the man to watch in the Champions League at the moment because he's on absolute fire.
Yes, absolutely. So we're all going Napoli for the next one. RB Leipzig versus Man City. I think one on paper that everyone would go with Man City, but it was a draw in that first leg. They had more shots on target, RB Leipzig, than Man City in that game. Gave them a bit of a scare. Guardiola getting the equaliser against Man City. I think it was Mahrez, wasn't it, who got the goal for Man City. They dominated possession, Man City, 74% possession. Do you think the home advantage will mean that it's just a little bit too much for them, or can you see a surprise here? There always is one.
I think it was a great result for Man City away at Leipzig to get a 1-1. I think that's critical in going into this second leg because I can't see them not winning at home. So I don't think Pep would have been too disappointed with that first game and how it went over in Germany. Manchester City at home against Leipzig, I can't see anything else but Manchester City. When it'll be close, but I think Manchester City will have enough at home to beat Leipzig.
I agree, but I think City is sending a message out to a lot of the teams that they play this season and the rest of European football that they can be fragile in matches. They can have these periods where they dominate you. And if you can hold them to one goal, they're going to give you a good chance to score. And I think Leipzig will feel the same. Unless City can go 2 goals in front, they'll always have a chance. And I think they will get a chance. It's just whether they take it or not. So, and I guess on the other side, whether City take their chances, because at home you'd expect them to have several. It's just they haven't been as ruthless, despite the goal scoring numbers. They haven't felt as ruthless as we've seen in previous seasons.
Yeah, and away from home in transition, Leipzig, like you say, that especially down that left hand side for Man City, they do give you a bit of an opportunity there. And Kunku as well, who's, I think everyone kind of just thinks he's not available. He's sort of getting 30 minutes. Again, could be really useful in terms of those channels. Werner's got pace. Andre Silva, good up there. Szoboszlai's had a great season as well. So, it could be. It could. If I'm putting, I think it could be good, decent odds as well.
Out of 10, how shocked would you be if Leipzig went through?
That's the question. If Leipzig went through, I would be. If 10 is like, what's just happened here? 5?
Yeah. I think I'd say maybe 6.
Yeah,
I was going to say 6.
Yeah, like I wouldn't be jaws on the floor. Do you know what I mean?
The Leipzig switch will be critical in this. One thing Leipzig are very good at is switching the ball quickly and getting on the attack down the opposite flank. And if they can catch Man City in transition, because of the way Man City play on the ball and off the ball, that's an avenue that they might get success from.
Okay. That said, are we all going Man City?
Yeah.
I'll go Leipzig. I'm going to go Leipzig because I think there's always one. That's why we keep talking about it. That's why we're always interested. But you guys are going Man City. AC Milan against Tottenham. It was. We told you it was going to be boring. It was pretty boring, and it was funny. I met Skip having an interview afterwards, and he was sort of quite chirpy, and they'd lost, but they were sort of they just kind of needed to get through that game. It felt like a bit like with Man City. It was sort of one of those. Let's stay in the tie and see what we can do at home. The atmosphere you would imagine would be fantastic. You just don't know which Tottenham are going to turn up. That's my problem with predicting this one.
It's not just Tottenham, the team, that need to show up. The fans really do as well for this one, because for me, this is their cup final. This could be them out of any trophy for another season. We saw them get knocked out of the cup last week. The Premier League's obviously not going to be won by Spurs. And it's very unlikely they'll win the Champions League, but who knows in a cup competition? Obviously, once you're out, you're out. And I think there is a good opportunity for AC Milan here with that goal. If they can get one early, it becomes very, very difficult for me, an out-of-form Tottenham team. Like you say, you never really know what you're going to get. But for me, that lack of consistency means, from 2 goals down, we're probably not going to see them come back unless it's another special evening for them. And they haven't been great defensively. They haven't been fluent in an attacking sense. You're never surprised by any Spurs result. They lose 2-0, you're like, oh, Spurs. They win 2-0, you're like, all right, they've got good players.
Yeah.
There's at the moment there's nothing there, and I think they need to show something now.
It does feel like those better results occur at the home stadium, which is obvious, kind of, I guess. But
it feels like they occur without the manager as well a lot of the time, doesn't it?
Yeah. Before the Sheffield United game, of course. 11 shots, 6 of those shots were outside the box against AC Milan. Again, I think what needs to be injected is just energy, and you can defend deep, but be proactive with it. And I think and be assertive with it. That's the Tottenham that I'm sure Tottenham fans will want to see. Harry Kane had 1 shot in the whole game in the away leg. He needs to be used more. It feels like you got Rafael Leao, who's not had a goal since the 14th of January, and that's a run that spans 8 matches. Without him scoring goals, that means that they kind of seem to lack firepower as well. I just keep thinking of Giroud with this guy.
Yeah, it feels like his kind of game, doesn't it?
It does, doesn't it? Giroud or a sort of set-piece centre-back goal. It feels like that's going to be the thing that's going to sort of to make the difference between these two. Who do you think is going to make it through?
Score draw, so Milan.
Oh,
Tottenham.
I think Harry Kane will get him over the line. I think it's about Kane and Giroud, and I think they'll have a little bit more energy under the lights, and I think that it'll be the good Tottenham, not the bad Tottenham. So I think Tottenham will just about sneak through, but it could be penalties, it could be extra time, because there's not going to be too many goals, I don't think. This is an interesting one. Dortmund against Chelsea, at Stamford Bridge, this one. 1-0 defeat. Poor Graham Potter. When I sort of was watching this one, I was like, going to score in a minute, aren't they? Like, surely. The XG was 2.2 in this one. 21 shots. 3 big chances missed by them. A great goal by Adeyemi. Great celebration as well. I don't even know how he did. It was the wrong way round. How do you feel about this one with Chelsea? Obviously struggling. Is it one? This has got to be this and the Leeds game are the games to save his job, aren't they? Yeah,
I actually think he might be in trouble after the weekend. I think Leeds under a new manager will go there and cause Chelsea problems. So then with the follow-on of the Champions League, he's got to win one of those 2 games. Graham Potter, I think he'll get both games, but he has to win one of those 2 games. But we could sit here all day and have a go at predicting what the Chelsea team was going to be, and then none of us will get it right. The teams that line up for those games, none of us will get it right. There's too many players to choose from. He's going to struggle to get a cohesive system. I think Dortmund, to me, feel a smarter side than they've been in recent years. They've got some young players now who are building up experience. I think they've got the know-how a little bit more than Chelsea. Thiago Silva's their biggest leader. He's now injured. Azpilicueta, another player who's a leader. He's the captain. He's been injured as well. To me, I feel like Dortmund are going to have a little bit more nous. They've got the noses in front in the first leg. And I just think that streetwiseness of Dortmund will get them over there. And for Chelsea, all those things I've just mentioned aren't there, especially without those 2 big players that I've mentioned.
It's a game to save his career, essentially, as Chelsea manager. And I think, I've mentioned it so much, and I know these are things, away from the coaching staff, away from the playing staff, but the atmosphere will be really, really important for Chelsea because the fans haven't been behind the team. They haven't been behind Graham Potter, and it could become one of the most miserable nights in their recent history if they go behind. And you could imagine toxicity in the stadium. It wouldn't be nice to see, but if that happens, I don't think they come back. I think the shoulders go down. This is a side really devoid of confidence, and it will be Dortmund that go through. First goal is everything.
Yeah, I think that atmosphere is going to be on a knife edge. And this is a Dortmund side that's in really, really good form right now. It's got a nice mix of experience. You talk about Chan and Royce. Julian Brandt is playing brilliantly at the moment. Bellingham, we know, is wonderful. Schlotterbeck and Söller as the 2 centre-backs. And Kobel, who made 7 saves in the first leg, is looking great as well.
They're a team, aren't they? You're naming those players. Dortmund are a team. They're a cohesive unit. Chelsea lost at home to Southampton a few weeks ago.
So, does he save his job?
No. I think it'll be a draw, and I think Dortmund will go through. And it wouldn't surprise me if there were, for once, goals in it. Because again, it's just one of those cup tie with nothing to lose, and you might see a 2-2.
Dortmund 3-1.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. I'm going to go with that. From behind the camera, there's screams with that prediction, guys. Hope you were screaming at home as well. I feel like a little 2-1 sucker punch at the end of the game from Dortmund. And as Chelsea are going for it, and it could be the end of Potter with that one. We'll see. Inter Milan against Porto. This will be Porto playing at home. First leg was a win for Inter Milan. Lukaku got the winner in this one. Porto, you've got to be wary. I'm always wary of Porto. They always sort of sneak a surprise in this one. Do you think Inter Milan will have enough to get through this one, or do you think Porto might spring a surprise here? At the start of it all, I said Porto would spring a surprise in this one. I think they'll find a way. So that's my prediction. I think they'll get maybe the sneaker 3-1 or 2-0. Taremi, I think, will get a goal as well. I think Porto will make it through in this one.
I think the Portuguese league's a lot stronger than people give it credit, but losing the first leg's a huge blow. And if Lukaku can get himself back to the level that we know he can play at, then they'll probably find it difficult to deal with him. I think because Inter Milan have got their noses in front in the first leg, I think that will be enough to see them through, because a draw obviously would be enough.
Yeah, you could see a 0-0, couldn't you?
You could, yeah, but actually I think it was a tale of 2 strikers. Taremi had a couple of fantastic chances, just didn't go in the back of the net. Lukaku's header hits the post and comes back to him. And I think it will be fine margins again. But I do think, saying it once again, the atmosphere will play a part. Yeah. Because Porto at home in European competition last couple of seasons haven't been too bad. So we'll see. This one's a very difficult one to call. If I had to name a team, I think I would say Porto just. I don't see Inter Milan as being as good as they were when they won the title a couple of seasons ago.
Okie doke. Club Brugge up against Benfica. They lost at home in the first leg 2-0. Scott Parker, of course, is the manager for them. Midfielder Kasper Nielsen is back. He's got 12 goals and assists in the league this year. Jutla as well will be back from injuries, the sort of top scorer for them. But Benfica, I think this is an easy and a quick one as well for us. Because with Bruges, I think the problem they have is, and I think you'll see this with Scottish teams in the Champions League as well, it's such a jump from the league form to the Champions League. And although they did unbelievably to get to this stage, they're a team that actually kind of plays that Scott Parker way that he did with Fulham when they came up, where they sort of lab all these guys back and we'll let them go, and hopefully we'll do something on the counter-attack. When you're 2-0 down away from home, it's a strategy, but it's a strategy to win 2-0 to get it back. I'm struggling to see.
Bruges fans are already not having Scott Parker as well, apparently. Really? So I think he's already in a little bit of trouble there. Champions League, it's a Champions League, isn't it? Benfica,
they're flying as well.
They did so well in the group stage as well. Some incredible results to get to the knockouts. Benfica, and again, as I say, I think the Portuguese league is a lot stronger than people give it credit for. There's some amazing players that play there who in a few years will be playing in stronger leagues. So Benfica, again, I'm boring. They've got their noses in front already. There's no way they'd chuck that away.
No, I just can't see it. I think that one's wrapped up.
Okay, and finally, PSG against Bayern Munich. PSG lost the first leg of this one. I mean, a cracking tie here. They've played each other a few times over the years now, haven't they? I think this was always going to be tight. The first 57 minutes of that game, Mbappe's not available, and they missed him desperately. He will be back, and it looks like he's back with a bang, of course, as well in Ligue 1. He's been scoring goals, including what says here, a disgusting goal against Marseille. It's one of those where you've got the overall press of Bayern Munich, very strong team, very strong squad. Of course, Cancelo back in that team, Kimmich in that midfield, really strong midfield there as well. And then, of course, the individuals that can always change the game for you. Will it be about the individuals here, or do you think it'll be about the collective of Bayern Munich?
It will be about Mbappe once again, who he's remarkable, really. I'll probably offend all Liga fans by saying, I wish he played in a different division, because not because I have anything against Liga, but because I think we'd see much more of him much more often around the world if he was playing in one of the other bigger leagues with much more coverage, because he's just about the best there is. I think one of the key things is Messi seems happier, quicker over the ground. Maybe the weight of winning the World Cup is off his shoulders because he's actually enjoying life in Paris at the moment and looks to be the kind of Messi that we know. And who knows, the whole point of moving to Paris Saint-Germain was to win another Champions League, right? I mean, that was the point. So I think it's possible this year. I think if Mbappe plays to his best in this game, Paris Saint-Germain definitely go through. Yes, it is about the individuals. And I think Paris Saint-Germain, that goes slightly in their favour because of the quality, in particular, of those two. But I actually don't think they're too concerned about being a goal down. I know Bayern will feel comfortable as well, particularly being at home. First goal's everything, because it changes the dynamic tactically to such an extent, because Paris Saint-Germain are then just, we're all out attack. And obviously that leads to Bayern wanting to, probably scoring more goals. So it'll be intriguing. If Paris Saint-Germain score first, it's full throttle to get the second, and then they might, pull themselves in a little bit. It's going to be really intriguing. This is
a great one, isn't it? Because you can't. I don't think you can trust them if they go in the lead, though. Because of course you can give the ball to Messi. Messi's had to deal with a couple of comeback defeats himself. So even if they were 2-0 up, and that whole PSG club still is wanting to get over the line, and so it does play on their mind. That said, they have been able to get past Bayern Munich previously, and on the counter-attack with Mbappe, I think that could really, really hurt them, because they've got the quality of players to find him when he makes those runs. I actually think Bayern Munich will get the job done. I think they've got the quality there. I get what you're saying with Mbappe. I think at home, with the lead, they should be making their way through, but time will tell.
I disagree with you. I think if you watch that game, first off, Bayern's formation was absolutely fascinating that night, but as soon as Mbappe came on, it was a different game. Bayern really struggled with him, and they've been very up and down in the Bundesliga as well. I just think if Mbappe starts, I think he's got enough to score a couple of goals, and I think PSG will advance and go through.
Okay. Right, guys. We've given our predictions. It's now time for you to do the same. Let us know who's going through to the quarterfinals in the comments down below.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.